yo. Moving on. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Irish migrant to unify their island.
Feels so cold.
They just like vodka.
Shut up! What the?
Potentially taking an undefended.
We will not talk of this. We will not speak of it. Anyone caught speaking of this will be systematic. What were we talking about? I just erased the last like minute from my brain. It's a unicorn! Not today. Was there anything else I needed to react to though, Lock-on? Open Demon Finalist? What's that? What is that? What is that? Oh, it's like a painting competition? Give me one more, Lock-on. We really needs more subs, I swear. Oh, so are these like professional artists? Well, that's pretty. Ooh. Alright. Then this is the second one. Alright. These are pretty. I'll watch one of these.
Hey people, Seth here. Today, I'll be covering a game designed on a shoestring budget while its own parent company was going bankrupt. Heroes of Might and Magic 4, and despite how little time and money they had, the outcome is pretty damn impressive. It also managed to produce 2 expansions on a nanofiber budget. The result, well, have a look for yourselves.
Mongo, great barbarian from the north, seeking to conquer new lands for his kingdom.
Mongo!
Spasmaticus, a young king on a mad quest to rule the world.
Spasmaticus.
Five leaders
oh my God.
from 5 different lands have set their sights on the kingdom of Channing and the riches of its capital city. Only one can emerge victorious. Only one will weather the winds of war.
Story. To recap the events of Heroes Free, some mages enchanted 2 swords to each have the nuclear yield of a small sun. Stated only in the fine print of a shipping invoice, these swords shouldn't touch, or else warranty is null and void, since the planet will erupt in a nuclear explosion. So, 2 heroes do exactly that and kill everyone. Some people manage to survive by following portals to a new planet, so they can ruin it all over again. Unfortunately, there's no Geneva Conventions or
That's a hell of a title to put on that train.
NATO oversight for wizardry, which is arguably the greatest cause of death in the Might and Magic universe. War crimes by practitioners of the arcane are rarely prosecuted, as mages will often teleport out of courtrooms and cast mass Alzheimer's on the judge and jury. The only people not susceptible to magical subversion are barbarians. Being so mentally retarded, they're not even considered a vegetable anymore. Gameplay. Heroes 4 is the most heroes-centric game of the entire series. Heroes in this game have a physical presence in the battlefield and can be
set
killed.
me on fire.
It's just gonna
Okay.
cost you your entire army to do so. Heroes go from being fragile glass to killing 2 or 3 black dragons per attack. As heroes level up, the power gap between them and normal units only increases. At some point, you're left feeling like a Dragon Ball Z character. If a plot of Dragon Ball Z involves
Hey, yo!
slaughtering entire populations in Ball Z character. If a plot of Dragon Ball Z involved slaughtering entire populations of crippled, boneless children. And that's a good feeling. To all the Heroes 4 critics out there, have you never experienced the intoxicating sensation of absolute control, of absolute power? I have. Once. My friend was in anaphylactic shock from his nut allergy, and I stole his EpiPen. I'm really sorry about that.
Whoa! Whoa,
Why?
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Now
whoa.
that's gonna be stuck in my head for the whole week. Thanks for that.
I don't know
By
what
the
you're
way,
talking about.
I thought the nut allergy was a joke. I mean,
I erased the
I'm
last
not
like
gay
2
either.
minutes of my
I've also
brain.
got an allergy to nut. Heroes 4 plays differently too, but maintains many of the older game's mechanics. You explore and plunder the lands and slowly build up an unstoppable team of adventurers to dominate rival players. The original campaigns are all good fun and tell some enjoyable stories with lots of colorful character development. In fact, some of the campaigns have such lengthy dialogue and text that you feel like you're reading a short fantasy novel instead. The same can't be said for the 2 expansions, which sound like they were recorded off a copper wire inside a submarine.
Mysterio the Magnificent has traveled south to the
Mysterio
shores
the
of the
Magnificent!
SsethTzeentach Sea, to a wild land inhabited by many untamed and ferocious tribes. Little is known about this region, even to the great Mysterio.
Mysterio!
With maybe a small paragraph of text explaining your motivations that can be summarized as, hey, some necromancer is resurrecting people's assholes and ruining the prostitution industry. Stop him by collecting his offshore banking details hidden across 7 tax havens. Both the expansions feel like some filler
Why
bullshit
was there a
intended
bone
to suck up
penis?
as much of your time as possible to justify the original
What is wrong with this person?
box price. Don't expect anything more than a handful of new units and structures. There's less units in the game compared to the third title, and they don't have second tier upgrades like before, but every single creature has special abilities and properties that make them distinctly unique, such as these Irish migrants, violent and aggressive, but easy to kill, with the ability to give themselves extra luck once per turn, but they'll need a lot more than luck to unify their island. There's lots of little quality of life improvements
I feel so called out by that.
from the previous game. You no longer have to visit
They just
every
like
single
Boka.
fucking
Shut
peaceful
up!
dwelling to collect your forces. Instead, you use a caravan system to safely and quickly transport troops between structures in towns, provided there's a direct logistic route available. In towns, you now need to pick upgrade paths to choose which higher tier units you'd like to produce, allowing you to adapt your strategy according to the enemy or what sort of resources you've got access to. The unit models look alright. Maybe they're 3D models baked into 2D sprites, who knows? Whatever they are, most of them are quite well animated with joke animations if you mouse over them. Like this female chaos sorceress, who's undergoing chemotherapy. As for the
What
combat
the-
itself, chaos sorceress, who's undergoing
Hello? What? Why? Why?
Hello there.
That's what I'm saying. Where's your hair?
chemotherapy. As for the combat itself, there's some new movement grid that I don't exactly understand, but I do appreciate that projectiles and spells now have collision and actually require you to have direct line of sight to your intended target. This means that you can actually conceal your shooters and spellcasters from direct attack by placing bulkier melee units in front of them. Resource management in the game is some weird shit, since most towns produce less gold even when fully upgraded, and many buildings cost more resources than you'd find on the map. Again,
Thank you for the
heroes are
sub,
necessary to
Invader!
build up a reliable line of credit. High-ranking shekel
Thank you for the tier 3, Vader.
collectors and Jew lords can
Thank
be
you for
elected as
becoming not
governors for
food.
cities if they have a nobility skill, improving unit recruitment and providing extra daily gold and resources if they completed an accountancy course. Some
But what
upgrades
the
in
heck?
towns
Take care
also
of
make
yourself!
no fucking sense. In Heroes 3, building a citadel and a castle would greatly improve your defenses, while in 4 they provide you with a wall and a
Wall.
gate that can be killed in a single turn, despite costing the equivalent of
Wow.
several max level units to build. Unlike in Heroes 3, where all the towns are
See, that's where I will never play this game then, because I like my walls and like defensive structures. Why the hell is there an item called breeding pins. Please tell me that's for animals.
Represented by different factions, Heroes' 4 towns are grouped loosely by their school of economic ideology, contrasted by their polar opposite. These are order, planned economy, chaos, anarcho-capitalism, nature, the free market, life, crypto-theocracy, death, communism, and might. The single market ethno-state of Zion. Supporters of their respective ideology are varied and diverse. The free market commands phoenixes capable of reincarnating after a market crash, while communism boasts Bolshevik vampires that sustain themselves off the grain and blood of Polish peasants. Heroes are multidisciplinary in this game, since on top of mages and Super Saiyans, you can also recruit heroes skilled in stealth who can sneak across the map undetected, so long as the enemy doesn't have a superior scouting skill to reveal them, allowing you to stealthily flag dwellings and disrupt supply lines, or even potentially taking an undefended city under your opponent's nose. Heroes 4
We will not talk of this. We will not speak of this. Anyone caught speaking of this will be systematically murdered.
or allowed you to do something wacky as well. Creatures can be split from heroes and used to independently explore and take resources or items, but can never flag dwellings by themselves. It's an interesting idea that also means your main heroes never have to leave a front line, since reinforcements will reach them manually from nearby towns.
Ayo, now that was kinda fucking sus.
Free. A lot of people complained about that, so now you have 2 diplomacy
Don't
skills,
question,
allowing
keep
you to
going.
convert a
The
fraction
more
of
you think
neutral
about it, the
monsters
more
to your
likely
side.
TOS might kick
one
in.
requires money, and the other one requires nothing.
What were you
Also,
talking about?
It now works on
I
enemy
just
armies,
erased
allowing you to
the
pay
last,
off a
like,
portion of
minute
the
from my
opponent's
brain.
army and persuade them to turncoat before the battle even begins. There's a huge range of spells in this game, and as part of the main allure, learning the highest level spells takes time, since there's now 5 levels of mastery for each school, up to Grand Mastery, which also requires proficiency in sub-skills to reach, but it's
a
well worth
unicorn!
it when you turn your 8-man party into an 8-man group of immortals by casting Divine Intervention every single turn. On a final note, the music in Heroes of Might and Magic 4 is absolutely fantastic. The other Heroes games are also great in terms of music, but the compositions here are much more reminiscent of the opera performances you'd hear in Heroes 2. It's very calm and soothing, and doesn't grate on your ears, even after you've listened to them for a few hours. Conclusions: I hope you've enjoyed reading this essay as much as I enjoyed
Gasp,
writing
you
it.
forgot I
Heroes 4
subbed
is a
T3 for
fantastic
5
game
months,
that never
Kek.
got the exposure it deserved from living in the
Yes!
shadow of
Blink
its
Boka.
universally acclaimed predecessor, but it's still worth playing
Blink, blink,
and
blink,
provides
blink,
you
blink,
with
blink, blink, blink.
hours of fun. I also got it for only about $10 on Good Old Games. Here in Scandinavia, $10 will maybe buy you 2 small potatoes and some grilled firewood, but this will keep the hunger pangs at bay for much, much longer. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm
Not
thanks
how that
to
works,
the
but
many
okay.
members of the Merchants Guild funding and bankrolling these terrible videos. You're all truly wonderful, and I'm
I was
running out
really
of
not
Heroes
expecting
games to review,
Heroes of
so
Might
I
and
can feel
Magic
the
to be
news
more
closing
sus
in
than
on me.
Dami Mommy
Have a
Marathi.
good
You need to vet these videos better. Well, that was Heroes of Might and Magic. What was it called? I'm scared to like this. By SsethTzeentach. Wait, it's that guy. But yeah, yeah, that was that.